Entering into J4 is entering into the heady cacophony of chainsaws, trucks, dogs, crickets, motorbikes, babies, children, and chickens. The noise is constant. The hustle and bustle of the third largest village in the Omo Forest Reserve is ascribed to the logging industry, which sustains most of its population. Trucks carrying tons of wood constantly come and go, and the sound of chainsaws can be heard from dawn to dusk. As long as there is daylight, there is logging. Hundreds of tons of timber are removed from the forest every year, and once one designated area is completely felled, the loggers move on to the next. Logging in the reserve is under management, and those in charge are in firm support of local conservation efforts. But perhaps their efforts are not the most effective. Permits are easy to acquire, and illegal felling in restricted areas is fairly common. The Omo Forest is one of 3 contiguous forest reserves in southwest Nigeria, a last stronghold for many vulnerable and endangered species. Some of the most enigmatic species include the African forest elephant, white-throated guenon, African grey parrot, and chimpanzee. These and many others like them are under great threat from the outside world. Their forest is shrinking, and they're being hunted for both legal bushmeat and illegal trade on the black market. In the mid-1940s, the Nigerian government planned to set up a large-scale paper industry. In what some would call a mildly misguided move, they decided to clear a huge section of indigenous rainforest and plant in its stead a monoculture of malina trees. Malina trees support nowhere near the same levels of biodiversity as native trees, yet now they make up approximately 90% of the reserve. The paper-making industry, for one reason or another, never got off the ground, and so the government decided that logging was a reasonable alternative. Although the setting up of this plantation was hugely damaging, the actual logging of malina trees is of minimal consequence. Worse than this is the continual encroachment into what is left of the native forest, both by loggers and farmers. What's most damaging are the non-native plant species, including cocoa, banana, mango, and pineapple. This practice not only destroys large areas of the natural forest, but also ruins the land for future reclaiming by native species. Logged areas are left for several years and are allowed to recover slightly, whereas the slash and burn method for farming makes it difficult for plants to re-establish. The government is particularly apathetic to cracking down on illegal farms, as even these can be taxed on their goods. The population in the reserve is on the rise, and illegal communities are constantly popping up all over the place. Again, the government does little to nothing to help this crisis due to unnecessarily complex bureaucracy and an unwillingness to spend any money. Like all community-based conservation projects, the challenges are never easy to solve. Local people need somewhere to live, food, and a source of income. But left unchecked, the destruction of this forest and its animals will leave the locals with nothing. And it could lead to disastrous consequences for global biodiversity and the climate.